Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm just going to share with you some of my tips and tricks. I mean, they're not really tricks, but definitely tips to do with secondhand shopping on eBay. Now, for anyone who perhaps isn't subscribed to my channel and you've just randomly found your way over here, I'll just say now that it is quite specific to clothing and accessories. So we're not going into shopping for furniture or games or antiques or anything like that. It is very much specific to secondhand clothing, vintage, shoes and accessories. So I personally have used eBay since I was 18, which is how many years? 16 years? Is that the right maths? Wait, 18, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Yeah, it is. So for 16 years, wow. And it's great, it really is. It's such an amazing marketplace. And obviously it's really helpful for selling and for buying. And over the last, I would say, year, probably this year in particular, 2019, I have definitely become more conscious of what I'm buying and looking at secondhand more. So it started off with designer bags, of which I of course use eBay and also Vase. That's one of my favourite sites for pre-owned bags. And from there it kind of grew to also looking at secondhand clothing, vintage clothing, and just maybe some like key designer pieces that I have wanted to add into my wardrobe but didn't really want to pay full price for. And eBay is such an incredible place for finding like the most amazing stuff. I mean, you guys would have seen in my first secondhand haul, I got some real bargains off eBay. And lots of you, I think, are probably maybe a little bit daunted about shopping on eBay, especially when it comes to luxury goods. And I'm going to have a whole section on luxury goods because I know that is a real prime focus for a lot of you. But I just wanted to share some of my tips of how like I use the platform and how I kind of search for things. So that is what I'm going to focus on first. So let's head on over to eBay. I am going to share with you guys my screen as well so that you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. Right, so the first thing I would say is that it's probably not the best idea to just blindly go onto eBay with no idea of what you're trying to look for or find. I have a little list on my phone where I have, anytime I do a wardrobe clear out or a wardrobe assessment, and I just have a look and see what I need in my wardrobe or what I want to upgrade, or just in general certain things that I might be looking for, because as you can imagine there are millions, in fact there's probably billions of listings on eBay, and that's, I'd imagine, just in the clothing sector alone. So make yourself a little list, and just for argument's sake I'm going to start off and I'm going to have a search of something like Burberry trench coat, because I know that that's something that you guys have been looking for since I purchased mine. When was it? It wasn't last year, the year before, because I got mine for £75 off eBay, which is quite a bargain, even if I do say so myself. So let's say you're looking to find a Burberry trench coat. That is exactly what I would write in the description. My Burberry trench coat is a vintage coat, but I would probably not write vintage. My point I'm trying to make is to keep your search terms quite broad, because not everyone, because you've got to think eBay is an international marketplace and not everyone is going to be using the same terms. Not everyone is going to describe things the same. And believe you me, speaking from experience, there have been things that I have missed out on because I've been very specific with my search term. If you're looking for a certain bag and you know the model number or the name, the style name, then by all means you can pop that in. But for me personally, I like to keep the topic and the search term very broad. You can refine later. So here, as you can see, I've tapped in Burberry trench coat, and here we just have a plethora of Burberry trench coats. And then along here on the left hand side you can see that you can refine that search. So Burberry trench coat is going to bring up children's, it's going to bring up men's, it could bring up dogs, it could literally bring up any kind of category. So if you specifically wanted women's trench coats, you could refine that by women. So just by clicking on that you've refined your search term. We've now gone down to 930 results, which is still quite a few pages but considerably less. I personally, if it's something which has brought brought up 930 results, which actually isn't that many results in comparison to if you typed in wool coat, for example. I would probably not refine by size because, again, as I said, it's an international marketplace. So if you're looking for something which you would say is a size UK 10, there might be a UK 10 on there, but it could potentially be listed as a European 38. So UK 10 might not be in either the description or the title. So I would probably not refine by size at this point. And then you can refine by lots of other different things down here as well. Sometimes if I'm looking for a bag, I might refine the condition, or I might refine something like, where is it down here? The location of your item, because with higher value items, you have to remember if you're buying, for me, for example, I live obviously in London, which is in the UK, which is currently, not sure for how long, in the European Customs Union. So if I were to purchase anything from within that European Customs Union, that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to incur any taxes or charges, import fees, etc. However, if I were to purchase from, for example, the US or Canada or anywhere in Asia, then I would incur customs charges. So I do tend to refine this by European Union or even sometimes UK only if I'm looking for something which I know is going to be quite a high value. So now I'm just going to have a little browse through these Burberry trench coats. I'm going to click on this one over here because I feel like I have some points to make. And this one immediately has struck me because, yes, true to form, the pictures are terrible. Sorry, Jules 28471. So basically when I found an item that has sparked a bit of interest, I will obviously click on it. And here we have ladies Burberry trench coat, size 14, genuine. I'm going to touch on designer goods and authenticity a little bit later on. But first of all, I just want to kind of dissect this listing because this is quite a good example. So, okay, we've got this trench coat. It's UK 14. I'm going to have a look at the pictures here. So this one is a prime example of someone who really needs to have more pictures. They've got two pictures here, one of which is a full length picture, which if we click on it, we can see it a little bit larger, but it's on its side for one. So really that should have been twisted so that it's in portrait. And there's nothing else. There's no back view. She has taken a picture, or he or she, sorry, I don't know. But they have taken a picture of the label, but there's no picture of the label for the care details, which I think, especially when you're looking at luxury goods, it's always good to see all of the labels because many of them are very good telltale signs of if something is authentic and not authentic. But again, I'm going to focus more on authentic or not authentic in a minute. So this actually would be something that I would, let's have a look at the description box actually. So, okay, very brief description here. Ladies Burberry trench coat, size 14, genuine. Condition is used. Dispatch with eBay delivery, pack link 1 day. Okay, so there's not really a lot of item specifics here. And of course, we've only got two pictures. So if I really thought, hang on a minute, I am desperately looking for a Burberry trench coat, this style, this colour, in a size 14. It says condition is used, but there is absolutely zero details there about if there's any marks on it, which for coats, this looks like it's the same sort of age as my coat, which is plus 20 years old. You would expect some kind of marks or some form of damage. So in this instance, if you come across something like this, I would email the seller and ask for more thorough pictures. So I would ask to see the lining, to see if the checks and the plaid inside match up along the seam, because again, that's another telltale sign of if something, a Burberry trench coat in particular, is authentic or not authentic. I would ask to see close-ups of the buttons, the stitching, the care label. So I would ask to see more pictures about all of these kind of details. And that would basically give me a better kind of view of if this would be something that I would want to buy. Now I have just clocked the fact that this is actually only going to be online for another 1 hour 53 minutes. So that gives you a very small window in order to bid. So my number one rule is, if in any kind of doubt, don't buy. You may well kick yourself at a later date for not purchasing that item, but if you're in any form of doubt at all, just don't click buy. So for example, with this particular listing, it's unlikely if I were to email her now, him or her now, that she or he I'm really getting she vibes from this person, so I'm going to say she. It's very unlikely that if I emailed her now and asked to see more pictures or if she could give a little bit more of a thorough description, that she would respond in time for me to place a bid. So this would probably be something, if I saw it with under 2 hours to go, I'd probably just completely ignore this and move on. Another thing I will say as well is to investigate your seller. That's something which is really important. So Jules, I'm going to use you. So what I would do is click on her feedback number, and this is going to take us to her feedback. Now she has basically got here. So this is her feedback. Now the things that I look for which kind of ring alarm bells are things like this one here, which are negative feedbacks which they have received. Now she's got 100% positive feedback. A negative feedback will only affect that percentage if it's under 12 months old. So any negative feedback over a year old will not be counted into their general feedback score. So this one I can see is over a year ago. It says it right over here as well. And that is to do with a car. So basically it looks like I won the car for a price and the seller refused to sell it as too cheap. So that basically looks like she sold the car and unfortunately it didn't reach the price that she wanted, so she decided to cancel the sale. That does happen, unfortunately. But that to me, she would kind of check out as I would be more than happy to purchase from her. She's got 129 feedback. She's not super active. She's been a member since 2005. That to me would be like, yeah, okay, she's been on eBay a decent amount of time. And within the last 12 months, 100% feedback. The only thing that I'd kind of be a bit hesitant about is that she hasn't sold anything recently, or at least she hasn't received any feedback for anything she's sold recently. So there's nothing on here to indicate that she's sold luxury goods before, which is totally fine because not everyone is running a business where they're selling luxury goods. But sometimes if it is a premium item or something which is designer, I do kind of like to see that they've perhaps sold other designer items before. But as a seller, I would be quite happy to purchase from her, aside from the fact that her pictures and description are, I was not going to say terrible, but they're not up to the kind of meticulous standard that I would like to see. Right, now because I have touched on luxury items quite a bit already, and you guys know that I obviously do like my luxury goods, I'm going to just go over eBay Authenticate. eBay Authenticate is basically eBay's way of being able to state that something is authentic. Now, this is a program which is only available to expert sellers, and to become an expert seller, you have to go through quite a rigorous kind of period of time, for one, where you've been selling and you have to have sold so many luxury goods and received so much positive feedback. So it's a similar kind of thing to Vestier's trusted sellers. So what I will say about this is that it's still very much based on trust, and the trust is actually from eBay to this expert seller. So there is no hub, unlike with Vestiaire, where when you purchase an item from, you know, a private seller like you or me, from that seller it goes to Vestiaire HQ, where they have a team of authenticators. They check it over. If it checks out as authentic and if it matches the description, it's then sent from Vestiaire directly to you, the buyer. With this program, basically because an expert seller has reached expert seller level, eBay is deeming them trustworthy, which I think for the most part they probably would be, but you'd have to use your own judgment and see if you're comfortable with that. So essentially anything that they then sell in the realm of handbags and watches will immediately appear with the authenticated little badge, and it will state on there that the item is authentic. And that is a little label. Let's see if we can find one actually, because I think that would be more helpful for you guys to be able to see what it looks like. Right, so I'm gonna search Chanel bag, because I know full well that will bring us up at least one item that's authenticated. Now that's obviously brought up just over 3,000 results. So I'm gonna go down because I have a feeling you'll be able to refine this. Yes, so here, authenticity verified. So I'm going to check that. Let's see how many results that brings us. 7 results. That's so small. I was expecting more than that. So as you can see here, even when you're on the search page, it has this little blue badge with a tick and it says authenticity verified. So I'm just going to click on this one. So this bag here, you can see says authenticity verified. It's in red here, which is just below the maker offer button. Now, as you could see when I looked at those search results, that's not a great deal of people that it's brought up. So yeah, that's just my kind of take. I've never used eBay authenticity program. I've never bought from an authenticity verified seller. I always tend to buy from private sellers, people like you and me, who are just selling their bags because they no longer want them. Now, what I would say, if you're looking to buy designer goods, and like me, if you're buying from a private seller, there's a few little things that I kind of look for. So let's go back, let's stick to Chanel bag, but let's perhaps untick authenticity verified so we can start going through. So I want to try and find something, let's just go for this one because this is a bidding situation. So this is Chanel black leather bag. They've not been particularly thorough with that description. There's no style of the bag down there. There's no model. It doesn't say if it's vintage or not. I'm going to go down to the description and just have a look. Again, a really terrible description, like very, very brief. They've at least given the measurements up here, but that is very brief. Something else which is also setting off alarm bells is that their feedback is 98.6% positive. So this probably wasn't the best one for me to click on because that immediately for me would be a no. I don't even want to click into what they've sold and see why they've got feedback that is that low. No, that for me would be a no because I'm just not certain. And again, that goes back to the point of me saying, if you're unsure in any way, if there's any shadow of doubt, don't. Just avoid like the plague. So I'm going to click on something else. Let's go on this boy bag just to have a look. So this is used 100% feedback, so I would go into that feedback again. And this person has taken, how many photos? Yeah, you've taken, okay, they've taken a lot of photos. So this is what I mean, like using all of the photo boxes here to use all of them and make sure that they've really done like so many photos, lots of different details. The only thing I can't see here, there's no picture here to show the serial number inside the bag, which again would be another alarm bell. So when you're buying something like a handbag, my number one tip would be to do your research beforehand. Let's say it's a new bag like a Chloe Tess. Those are available in stores at the moment. You could go to Selfridges, Harrods, a Chloe store, or wherever else would sell a Chloe Tess. You could go and fully investigate that bag, look inside, look at the stitching. You could even try and take some sneaky photos just for future reference if you wanted to. Like look at where the serial number is placed in the bag, look at where the label inside is stitched, look at how it's stitched, look at the hardware, where is engraved, where is not engraved. Is there a colour difference in the hardware anywhere? Like on a Chloe Tess, there is gold and silver hardware. Just look at every aspect of that bag and thoroughly investigate it. Of course, this does literally just apply to if you're buying a current bag. Then you can go on eBay. When you're looking at a bag, if you found one already, or perhaps you're just about to start searching for one because you want to save a bit of money and buy one secondhand, then you kind of know what you're looking for. If it's a vintage bag or perhaps an older style bag like my Gucci Ladyweb, which was a tan suede one, then what I do is I use Google Images and I Google the shizzle out of that item, out of that bag. I will have a look and there will be people that have perhaps sold them previously. Any pictures will go straight onto Google Images. So they might have come from eBay, they might have come from Pinterest, they might have come from Vestiaire, The Real, and there will be loads of different pictures on there for that specific item. So you can use those pictures to kind of investigate and have a look at those things and kind of see where the stitching is and the placement of a logo, how it's stamped, etc, etc. So you're just really doing your research on what a genuine bag should look like. Now there are also websites like Purse Blog, which I don't know if it's particularly an official site for like authenticating. I don't think they can give you a certificate or anything, but basically Purse Blog is full of, I think, self-proclaimed, you know, handbag know-it-alls, if you will, but that's a good thing. You can upload that listing and you can get someone, it's kind of like a forum, they'll all have a look at the listing and see what they think and they'll kind of give you their opinion. So it's always something that's kind of useful. I've used that system when buying a couple of bags, just to kind of question a little placement of something. And it may be a case that they have potentially worked for the brand previously. There was a girl on there that replied to me once about Burberry trench coat, and she said, oh, actually sometimes the labels, they would change seasonally. So that's a lot of years of different labels. So it is good to kind of go on there and just ask for other people's advice. The only thing I would say with regards to that is that you are then sharing that link with other people, so potentially it could cause competition when bidding on something like that. So just be a bit savvy with who you're sharing that link with. Right, so that is like basically my main kind of tips and tricks. eBay very much just comes, I think, with practice. Like you just kind of have to use the platform more, not necessarily buy more off there, but I just find that the more I browse through eBay, the more I kind of get used to what sort of search terms to put in and what sort of sellers that I like to buy from. It is a little bit trial and error, but definitely a great platform, especially if you are looking to be a little bit more mindful, a little bit more conscious with what you're buying and adding into your wardrobe. And please do by all means use my secondhand book brand hashtag if you've bought anything off eBay or anything secondhand in general. Just join that conversation, because we're just trying to get more people on board with secondhand shopping. And as you all know, I am a big ambassador for sell to buy, which is when you clear out your wardrobe, or if you look at your wardrobe and you find things that you're not necessarily going to wear, you would sell them to buy things that you have on your list of things that you do want. And that, of course, is just recycling and involving the circle of life of your clothing and making sure that you're not dipping into your wage packet to buy unnecessary things. So yeah, if you would like a video on selling tips on eBay and other such platforms in which you can sell things, then do let me know. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you found this useful in some way. I hope you've been able to take away some points from this, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!